So I'll be discussing color theory and how it applies to print as well as digital publications, which is something very important for us as communications majors, especially those interested in graphic design, because it allows us to make conscious decisions about the colors we use in our publications to create the most impact on customers. So first I'll be going over the color wheel, which begins with the primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. And from there we have the secondary colors, which are the colors you get when you mix red, yellow, and blue together. And lastly, there are the tertiary colors, which are the colors you get when you mix the colors on either side of those. Each of these colors has combinations that are practically guaranteed to complement each other. For example, colors across from each other on the color wheel are considered complementary because they're direct opposites and they contrast against one another. Whereas analogous colors are combinations of colors that are directly next to each other on the color wheel, and these coordinate nicely with each other because they're in the same color family. This is a good framework to keep in mind when coming up with color schemes for your publications. So the color wheel I've discussed so far only includes hues, which are the pure forms of a color. However, this color range can be expanded immensely when you alter the tints and shades of these hues. Tints are created when you add white to a color, while shades are created when you add black to a color. Working the shades and hues expands your options tremendously because it allows you to combine infinitely more complementary colors together. Another important thing to keep in mind regarding color theory is that shades and cool colors recede, while tints and warm tones pop out. This means that you can use more of a cool color in your design to make more of an impact and make other tones pop out more. There are two important color models to be aware of in commercial publications. CMYK is the color model used for print publications. It's called a 4-color process because it uses the combinations of the colors blue, magenta, yellow, and a key color, which is usually black, to create endless colors on print. RBJ stands for red, blue, green, and is used for digital publications that will be displayed on a screen or like electronics or digital billboards, things like that.
So I'm going to be going over creating a package or brand. And as most of us are business majors or communication majors, I feel like that's really important. And our textbook highlights 3 main points, which are principle of repetition, identifying characteristics, and making your mark. Now, those 3 main points made me think of Louis Vuitton heels. So as you notice in the image, they have a red sole. And Louis Vuitton really made their mark with the red sole. It set them apart from other heels. If you see someone walking down the street with a red sole on their heel, you know they're Louis Vuittons. So you can really identify them. Now, repetition really made me think of the Harry Potter books. As you notice in the image, the logo stays the same throughout the books, but they do change color. So they're a little bit different, but they stay the same nonetheless, and the characters in all the books, of course, he changes with each new book. But all in all, it shows a good use of repetition. Business cards. So those are gonna become really important, as we further our careers, or maybe some of us already have a use for business cards. So our textbook does highlight some really great main points for business cards. One of the most important one is utilizing the principle of contrast. And as in the image is shown, I feel that it is showing really well principle of contrast. It uses great use of color, and it uses a really dominant name as the via media. So it also has a great alignment, the smaller font, and the standard size of 9.5 to 4.125. Now our textbook also highlights that the less is better. So you want to make great use of the space and not have unimportant information in your business card. Letterheads. So in business, we may have a use for letterheads to send important information to a client or to a group. Now, our textbook does also highlight some very important points for letterheads, which is the standard size of 9.5 to 4.125. There's dominant, alignment, small element, and to fax or copy machine. Now, the image that I included really shows well standard size. It shows the logo that is very dominant, really well put. The alignment is also well done, as you show the logo at the top, the line at the bottom, and a great use in the middle for writing. And in the small element, the writing at the bottom of the text, it doesn't need to be highlighted. It's obviously important, but it's there. And for fax or copy is best used to make letterheads. Letterheads. So in business, we may have a use for letterheads to send important information to a client or to a group. Now, our textbook does also highlight some very important points for letterheads, which is the standard size of 9.5 to 4.125. There's dominant, alignment, small element, and to fax or copy machine. Now, the image that I included really shows well standard size. It shows the logo that is very dominant, really well put. The alignment is also well done, as you show the logo at the top, the line at the bottom, and a great use in the middle for writing. And in the small element, the writing at the bottom of the text, it doesn't need to be highlighted. It's obviously important, but it's there. And for fax or copy is best used to make letterheads.
Hey there! I'm going to be giving you a few tips and tricks on newsletters, brochures, and postcards. Newsletters need consistency and alignment. All pages should look like they belong together. So pick an alignment and stick to it. Maintain strong edges throughout the design. To help, use guidelines. The first paragraph on a newsletter should never be indented, and that includes after subheadings. Be sure to have a readable body copy as well. The typeface you choose should be legible for everyone. For headlines and subheadings, use heavy, strong typeface, but avoid Helvetica and Arial because they've been heavily overused. Brochures are quick and an inexpensive way to spread the word for any project. To help get your ideas going, grab a piece of paper and fold it into a brochure. Review it and take some notes, where the front is and where the back is. Ask yourself in which order the customer will read the brochure. The last thing you'll want someone to read is the copyright and contact information, so be sure to put that on the back. Brochures will need contrast, repetition, alignment, and most importantly, proximity. When it comes to proximity, keep all relevant information grouped together. Remember that distance communicates relationship. Postcards are visual and instant. They can grab your attention. When creating a postcard, be specific, keep it brief, and use color. Get straight to the point on what you want to convey and what action you want to garner. To make your postcard stand out, use contrast. Contrast can create hierarchy, and it can be done through typeface, colors, spacing, and the size of elements. For instance, this postcard is super colorful, but it tells you exactly what it wants you to do. This postcard is also very colorful and catches the eye. It uses contrast. And on the other side, it tells you what you can get out of a visit. Now that we've discussed newsletters, brochures, and postcards, let's discuss advertising and resumes. Advertising should be clever, clear, and brief. Tell people what to do. Keep it simple and to the point. Use contrast, like white space, within an ad to catch the eye, because it's a reprieve from an otherwise busy space. Look onto the screen for the Volkswagen ad. As you can see, there's repetition, there's contrast, proximity, and alignment. Very clever. Depending on who you're sending your resume to, depends on how visually distinctive you can be. Resumes can use contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. You can use contrast in headings by making them bold to stand out, repetition for consistency by using repeating structures of information. If you have a date on the left, repeat using the date on the left throughout your design. Give the resume a neat, clean look by using proper alignment. To do so, use columns. And finally, use proximity by positioning headings closer to the related information for clarity.